The night was cold, the kind that seeps into your bones no matter how many layers you wear. Samuel Reed hunched over his tiny kitchen table, staring at the pile of unpaid bills that mocked him. Rent was overdue. His electricity bill was threatening to plunge his apartment into darkness, and his stomach growled in protest of another skipped meal. Life had never been easy, but lately, it felt as though the universe was stacking the deck against him. Just as he was about to give in to despair, a knock echoed through his small apartment. Strange. He wasn't expecting anyone. With caution, he walked to the door and peeked through the peephole. No one. He opened the door slowly, the hinges groaning in protest, and his eyes immediately fell on the lone envelope lying on the welcome mat. It was old, the paper yellowed with time, but his name was written across it in elegant, flowing script. There was no return address, no stamp, nothing to indicate where it had come from. Curious and a little uneasy, Samuel picked it up and carried it inside. As he carefully unsealed the envelope, a single sheet of paper slid out. To the recipient of this letter, fortune and ruin walk hand in hand. Choose wisely. The cryptic message made little sense. His fingers brushed against something else inside the envelope. A small, antique-looking key. The brass was tarnished with age. The head of the key ornately carved with symbols he didn't recognize. A chill ran down his spine. Was this some kind of joke? A prank? But who would go to such lengths? And why him? Samuel turned the key over in his fingers, his mind racing. He had nothing to lose. What if this was an opportunity? A chance to escape the miserable existence he called life? As he studied the letter again, he noticed faint, almost imperceptible writing beneath the main message. Holding it up to the light, the words became clearer. The old post office. Midnight. The lock awaits. The old post office had been abandoned for decades, a relic of a forgotten time. Samuel had walked past it countless times, never once giving it a second thought. But now, as the hands of his battered clock crept toward midnight, he found himself standing outside its towering facade, the key clutched tightly in his hand. His breath came in shallow puffs as he approached the massive double doors. To his astonishment, there it was, a rusted, ancient lock hanging from a chain securing the entrance. Heart pounding, he slid the key into the lock and turned it. A soft click echoed in the silence, and the chain unraveled as if moved by unseen hands. Swallowing his fear, Samuel pushed the heavy door open and stepped inside. Darkness swallowed him whole. The air was thick with dust and the scent of forgotten things. His footsteps echoed eerily as he moved forward, his eyes adjusting to the dim moonlight filtering through the broken windows. Then he saw it. A lone desk sat in the middle of the cavernous room, and atop it, another envelope, identical to the first. His fingers trembled as he picked it up and tore it open. Turn back now, and your life remains yours. Proceed, and the path will unfold. Choose wisely. Samuel hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to leave, to walk away from whatever game this was. But the weight of his empty wallet and the gnawing hunger in his belly drowned out the fear. He chose to proceed. At that moment, the sound of something shifting in the darkness sent a jolt of adrenaline through him. A section of the floor slid away, revealing a narrow staircase descending into the earth. The choice was no longer his. Something unseen was guiding him now. With a deep breath, he stepped onto the first stair. The underground passage was lined with flickering lanterns, their weak glow casting dancing shadows along the damp stone walls. Samuel moved cautiously, his heart hammering. The air grew colder, the silence oppressive. At the end of the corridor stood a heavy wooden door, carved with symbols similar to those on the key. It creaked open at his touch, revealing a room filled with shelves upon shelves of books and trinkets that looked older than time itself. In the center of the room was a small pedestal, upon which rested yet another envelope. This time, his hands shook as he opened it. Your past, rewritten. Your future, uncertain. Take the coin, and your debt is paid. But beware, the price is not always measured in gold. His gaze snapped to the pedestal, where a single golden coin now sat. It shimmered in the dim light, almost humming with energy. Samuel's mind raced. If this was real, if this coin could erase his debts, change his life, what was the catch? Doubt gnawed at him, but desperation won out. He reached forward and grasped the coin. A cold wind howled through the chamber. The lanterns flickered wildly before plunging the room into darkness. Samuel gasped as unseen forces gripped him, whispering in a language he didn't understand. He felt something being pulled from him, as if an invisible hand was rifling through his soul. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the whispers ceased. The room was gone. He was standing in his apartment, the morning sun streaming through the window. His battered furniture was gone, replaced by fine leather and polished wood. The pile of unpaid bills had vanished. His fridge was stocked. His bank account, he checked his phone, overflowed with more money than he had ever seen. It worked, but something was wrong. His head ached, his thoughts foggy. He tried to recall his mother's face, but it was blurred, distorted. His father's name eluded him. His childhood, once so clear, was now nothing but fragments slipping through his fingers. Panic gripped him. The letter's warning echoed in his mind. The price is not always measured in gold. He had erased his past. Desperate, he searched his apartment, hoping to find some piece of his old life. Then he saw it, the envelope sitting atop his polished coffee table, waiting for him. With a shaking hand, he opened it. "Welcome to your new life," Samuel read. "Your past is lost, but the game is far from over. The next choice is yours." A knock sounded at the door, and he knew, with a bone-deep certainty, that his story was only beginning.